So, all right, guys, welcome to Lapoteetv, the only YouTube channel that brings you interview with African personalities here in the diaspora, Germany, Hamburg to precise. And today I'm here with one of the prominent ladies that is here in Germany, Hamburg. In case you don't know this lady, then I don't think you are still here, or I don't think you are here in Hamburg, or probably you just came fresh. So, we're gonna have a conversation with her, and you're gonna get to know her better. She goes by the name Irene Appiah. Irene, I want to say nice to have you on Lapoteetv.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for having me.
You know, it's interesting, but when it comes with me, relationship is very important. And I kind of remember the first time I saw you. I don't know if you remember. I think that was on way back in Church of Pentecost. I don't know, it was 2017 or something. I guess you were still running for...
Should have been 2018, 19.
You wanted to come and talk to the youth so that they can give you their support, that kind of a thing, you know. And I guess I ran to you and we have a conversation. I was trying to let's establish something and it didn't work. And then the second time again I met you was when the CPAP was going on.
Yeah.
Of course, I had some interviews with some couple of people, and then we've been going back and front to as to how we're going to schedule an interview. And today here we are. You're here with me. So once again, I want to say it's nice having you here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Okay. So tell me, when it comes to Hamburg, we only have some few Africans that are in the political space or field like that. And I saw something online that you happen to be one of the first African ladies who is in that political field, like I said here. So, in the first place, for someone who is watching and doesn't even know who is Irene, and who is Irene Appiah?
Who's Irene Appiah? Well, I was born and raised in Hamburg by Ghanaian parents. My mom and my dad met here. My father actually came in the 70s to study. My mom actually got here coincidentally because she was actually heading for London due to some circumstances. She was like, okay, let me just, go to Germany, met my father, and the rest is history. Typical life road that I went through, went to school, studied. Well, I was in the music business for a while, and moved to Berlin, moved back to Hamburg, started to study law, and I am working for the Ministry of Education for 14 years now. And in 2012, I decided to step into politics. I actually was a candidate in 2014 and missed Parliament on very few votes, but that's actually when I really started to, voice out that our community needs to step into political spaces. Yeah, the cause of it was basically like we all grew up here and politics wasn't on the agenda of any one of us, So it seemed like it is something, it is an area, a space that we as Africans would never, consider. So,
well, anyway, first of all, I want to say thanks for your mom for deciding not to go to London, and if she didn't take that step, probably we would not be having this conversation. So, I'll say thanks for you taking that step. It's interesting. I really asked who is Irene Appiah because despite the fact that we are here in Europe and there's an African community, we know African community like to talk. I remember I was having some conversation with somebody and say Irene, and say, oh, she's one of the Africans in Parliament. Say, oh, we're assemblywoman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that is why I wanted to find out who is Irene Appiah and what exactly do you do? Because I remember the first time too I interviewed when the CPAP was going on. I asked you what you do, and then you mentioned that in Germany you said me what's equivalent to what we call being a member of Parliament in Ghana. And so that's why I wanted to clear this. So you are not just an assemblywoman. Right.
What is just assemblywoman?
And that's what I'm saying.
No, I know what you mean.
And that's what I'm saying. This is not my words. I'm saying.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an assemblywoman.
Oh, okay.
As you would say in Ghana, because we have constituencies, municipalities. But you have, if they compare it to Ghana, Ghana just has the assemblywoman, and then it has the member of parliament on state level. In our case, we have the districts, the municipalities, then we have the state, and then we have the federal. In Ghana, we just have federal and constituencies.
Yes,
You know, that's why it's not comparable in the in the system. Assemblywoman is more correct because in the parliament, as we call it, in the districts, we are just there to control the administrations. We are not in there to pass laws. So if you would say, if you want to compare, I would definitely say the person is right.
Okay.
But it's about election. It's about being elected by civil society. And when we talk about my constituency, which is Hamburg Central, I mean, there are almost 320,000 people living in that district. So we're talking of a parliament, assembly. That is huge.
I mean, between you and I, we understand what it is. But then again, like I said, when we do these things for the purpose of the public, and we know that African people can talk, and you know, Africans have the way of trying to demean whatever someone is doing. Like I put it, or just assemblywoman. Someone went to this thing and said, like, you are not part of the people. Like, you don't go to Berlin where they have their main, you know, so you are just on the local level. And that is why sometimes it's good for us to have this thing to clear the air. We know our people. So that's just by the way.
It's fine.
Yeah. So Irene, tell me, I think I came across an article.
Hold on.
Or something.
Since you mentioned it, let me also
Address it.
tap into it. We do have those different levels: local, state, and federal. I'm definitely not on the federal level. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
So whoever just want to chip in, he or she should also do that way, because it's not easy to get in there.
And I mean, for instance, if you ask me sometimes, it's not even about the level that the person is. You know, back in Africa, you can see somebody who is even a vice president and his works are not there to show for it. You understand me? So personally, for me, if you ask me, it's all about the work that the person is doing on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I say we do this for the public. And yeah, back to what I was saying before, I think I saw an article, something online that some couple of years ago you received award or something from one of the ex-presidents in Germany or something like that. And I just want to find out, was that where your strive or your ambition for going into politics started?
Not really, but what I clearly saw with that recognition was that it was political.
Oh, okay.
Because what you're mentioning is happened 2009, and it was I was given that award for social engagement, and but like I wasn't the only one who was selected, but the cause of my selection was based on political reasons. Because if I just said 2009, that was the year when Obama also candidated. So U.S. had a black person that they were featuring. So I became the face of that event, because basically just to tap in and say, oh, Germany is also having a black person. That's something that I caught. And then I realized, this is politics. Yeah, so that I came across that political power and influence through that event.
Okay, what did it feel like for you being nominated, given that, what you call it, is it an award or
If I'm honest,
it felt
I at first didn't even want to go and receive it, because I felt that I was doing what I was doing for a short term. Like I started working with the NGO. I was part of the NGO in 2005. We established it or got known in 2006. And to be awarded in such a high, high position, or to get such a high recognition after 3 years, I didn't feel like that was, justified. If I met a lot of people who've been doing this for 25 years, for over 30 years. And here I am 3.5 years in, and then all of a sudden I'm getting awarded on the highest level. So I felt like that's ridiculous. But as I said, when I realized what was behind that, I decided to go for it because it was going to help us with our NGO. And that is the reason why I accepted it.
Well, if you ask me, I would say timing is everything. You know, it was just the right time for you to receive that. Or like you said, something was going on in the US, and they felt like, okay, that kind of thing, the way you put
It's
it.
definitely
But
right.
let me ask you too. Did in your parents? Was any of them in the political space or anything of that nature?
Yeah, my father was. My father was, as I said, he was a student.
Oh, okay.
He was very active when it comes, like he was part of the Ghana Student Union in the 1780s, was the spokesman for Europe. And yeah, was always like, politically involved. My mom would also say like she wasn't directly, but my grandma was very active in NDC. So somehow, I guess,
so
it came from
I guess
somewhere.
See where this whole thing is coming from, because sometimes it's very difficult when someone wants to get in that space and you don't have anybody affiliated with you that is.
I wouldn't
already in
say
that
no.
space. So
I wouldn't.
Could we say that
I wouldn't
your dad
link
being
in
that
it.
space kind of paved the way for you to like going towards that
Indirectly, because it's like the responsibility that you just he passed it on to me, but not necessarily in the way that he said, okay, you need to go and do something in politics. That was like totally not my direction. I was in music.
Yeah.
As I said,
I understand.
And law.
I guess it happens to all of us. Sometimes your dad doesn't necessarily say do this. If I have to share my story and tell you, probably you see what I'm doing here. It's not just happening because for happening's sake. If you have to tell you my history too, probably my parents or my dad was into stuff like this, that kind of a thing, and that is what transcends to we sitting here now today. So I came across a book that was written by one Mr. Desmond. I'm sure you're familiar with the name.
Betty.
Desmond Betty. And then in the part of his book, he said that in your political journey, he said that they played a role. They contributed in making sure they get you to where you are, that kind of a thing. And I just want you to clear that for us. Is that totally true that he had a role to play in you, being where you are right now in terms of the political space?
You wrote, I didn't read the book, so.
But then you don't need to read the book. If he did play a role,
everyone did play a role. I believe that everyone did, I think he played his part just as Ofori did play his part, just as, if I would say, like, really politically involved was Kenneth Bundy from the Nigerian, he's a Nigerian who did, what's his name, African Outlook, and we actually sat down in 2012 and talked about it. But of course, Desmond also played his part because he interviewed me, just like Ofori did interview me.
So
like
he granted you an interview?
Of course,
no doubt. When it comes to
Yeah.
things, I know all African played a role, but if you have read the book, based on the way it sounded, I feel like he held your hand, and like really placed you there. And that is why I'm asking, because sometimes we need to know. But
some people just need the crowns.
Okay. When you decide to go into politics, why do you decide to run on the ticket of SPD? You could have gone with any other parties in Germany. It could have been the AFD, CDU, and all that.
Definitely not the AFD.
Why the SPD, if I may ask?
Simply because my parents always said SPD were the party that helped them in the 70s, 80s to establish. They were those people who, had the interest of the people who were foreigners. So I grew up
with this notion,
with that notion of like SPD is the party that is for us. And I would always, elect them also, or vote for them. It wasn't. I didn't even think about.
You'd have been blamed
to go in any other party. I chose that because it was basically inherited.
And so far, you being with the XPD and looking at how they conduct and how they go about their things, do you think it's? Do you have any regret for running with the SPD or going with the SPD party?
No, I don't. Of course, in every party, there are certain things that I do not, where I disagree. And that's in every party, I could be in a CDU and there would be certain things that they would, try to push and I would disagree. So of course, at my party at the SPD, most of the things I align with, but there's specific, themes that, of course, I have a different opinion, and so do other people as well. So it's about majorities, like in every party. So I definitely think that it's fine.
When it comes to you, will there ever be any political switch? We have circumstances whereby we see a person running under a political party, and they could just switch and say, oh, we have that a lot in Ghana. Someone said they are with the NDC. The next thing you know, they've switched from NDC now. They say they're with the NPP. Do you have in mind of ever doing anything of that nature, or SPD for life?
I'm not quite sure if people, go there with full intention of switching. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say. I'm the person never say never. So if something happens and I feel that this party is not my home anymore, well, everything is possible. But I do not intentionally sit here and plan to go with this or that party.
Oh, okay. It's interesting, even before you decide to assume political space or go into a political space, it looks like you've constantly been a help in your community. And, I think I also came across something where they say you are the first person to assemble, trying to form an all-African people kind of party. I don't know if I read that right. How true is that?
I do have something called NotI. We have different kind of people who are in politics, who are of African descent in Germany. So we all came together and created an association, which is called Vereinigung Mandatsträger Afrikanischer Abstammung. So basically it's a safer space for Black or African politicians, because we felt that we needed a space, because, we're in politics, but just because we're in politics, it doesn't mean that we are also always accepted in a way that others are accepted. So yes, it's like equivalent to the Black Congressional Black Caucus in the U.S. So that's basically the association. I'm the chairwoman now, but when we started, we were like the founders. I became more or less their financial secretary for 2 periods, and then took in the chair. The chair.
So tell me, how does this work? Do you have, so let's say if there are other African women that belong to other political party, then you guys come to a consensus. Is there an understanding? Because if like you are in the SPD and maybe the other African lady decide to run for CDU, and
it's a non-partisan. It's a non-partisan association. It's about being Black in politics. So whatever party you belong to, it doesn't really count. What's of our interest is like the interest of the communities from the different states that we are all active in. So it's about our our matters, personal and collectively. So like the community, all in all.
You have done so many things ever since you assumed political space, or you got into this space that you are. I mean, one I can testify is the CPAP thing that you guys started. And I want to ask you, is there any way that you being in that space has been quite beneficially, directly to those people who gave you, Africans who voted for you and put you into that position?
I feel yes. Okay. But if you ask individuals, depending on what their interests are, they might say no, but I definitely say yes, starting with something that you asked me in the beginning. I'm a representative for the Black community, whether it's on the assembly level, where we, before that time, never had someone in that space. So I believe that me standing for that and paving the way is one thing that we are all benefiting right now from. Nowadays, like we just had election, European and Assembly or Bezirksversammlung, and alone in Hamburg Mitte Central, where I came in, we had 6 black people candidating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is not always good because, then the splitting starts and, like it begins strategically. They're already now having the clue of, okay, the African community seems to have like also voices and they're getting powerful. So you start splitting their voices in order for not all of them to come in, right? So that's a good sign. That is something that I had on my agenda.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that people see, that society actually take notice of that, yes, we are here as well. So consider us also at the table because we do have the voices. Before that, we did not exercise our voices. So, and that's simply because we didn't feel represented. So that's number one, how I contributed. Number two is when I started in 2014 and then became a runner-up, I also implemented within the coalition contract between those two parties who won, and were taken in the decision that the African community should be a focus. So it was the first time that a coalition paper even mentioned the African community. And the mentioning was also added with application money-wise, like if you apply for certain money or support, financial support, they would consider that the Africans would, get pieces of that. I would say that is beneficial to the community. Thirdly, it took me more than 5 years to, establish the thought of having a community center for the African community. That didn't come to pass, but I'm still working on it.
So I just want to applaud you for taking that initiative. I have this thing that I used to say to people, if you really want change to happen, you really need to be where the decisions are being made. And that's the one thing I need to say to my Africans. I feel very bad when I look at most African kids that are born here in the system, and most of them tend to settle for menial or less job. And I keep saying, if we keep complaining about things, we need to have our kids that are growing up here to be in that helm of affairs, because that is where the real power is. That is where the changes are being made. So once again, I want to applaud you for taking this initiative and all the things that you are doing. So now, I remember the last time I had a conversation with you, you said something to me like you are not running you're not running anymore, or I don't know if you remember that. I think was it some couple of months ago when the last election or something went on, and you said this time you're not running. So does it mean, have you completed your term in terms of being the assembly woman, or you're moving to something higher? What's new with Irene now?
We had elections on June the 9th. Okay. I actually candidated for European Parliament. Oh, okay. So once you are actually candidating for one of those, because as you saw, European Parliament and Assembly, the Assembly election were at the same time. Okay. So you can't run for both. So I decided for Europe, but it was fine because I had made the decision before that I was not going to run for district parliament again, either European Parliament or anything else. So as we all went out and voted, we have now Christelle, who is now in that space, and I will candidate for state parliament in the upcoming election in March 2025.
Okay, can we use this opportunity to speak out to the Africans out there, because they will definitely need your votes, right?
Definitely, I'm counting on the community.
Want to say to them, let's just use this opportunity to, speak to your people, so they can hear you.
Yeah, definitely. We are about to have the next step where we are going to have our first Black member of parliament on state level. And I would love for you to go out and show once again that we do exist and our votes counts. We did that with the last election as well, because to be honest, Christelle and Anima were actually both in parliament. We had to give up one seat to another party. And it shows that if we have two Black person in the same municipality, that our votes are high enough, because only 3 made it. 3 made it through that direct mandate candidation. So, and from those 3, 1 is Black, and the next runner-up is also Black. So we do have the voice. And this time, I want all of us, because that's the opportunity, because every time when we go out, people were living in Vansbeek, people were living in Altona, they were not able to, actually put in their votes. Now, this time, it's possible to vote me in whole Hamburg, so everyone can go out. As long as you have that German passport, please go out and vote, and let's prove to them that our voices count.
All right, guys, she said it all. I mean, if you have that German pass, make good use of it. I mean, it's about high time we made our voice to be heard, and let's support the just cause. I mean, there's not much to say. Like I said, she have said it all, and like I said, I am still here with her. So, it's interesting. So, like I always keep saying, anytime we meet for such interviews and we have conversations, we definitely cannot use one day to speak about everything. I know
Definitely not.
Further and ask, but I just want to say I appreciate the time you spent for coming here and coming to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully, I'm sure we're going to bring you back here and we're going to have more conversations. If there's anything you wish to say to our audience that are watching, you can tell them before we exit.
Yeah, this goes out to everyone who supported me in the last election, who supported Falco Drossmann, who supported Barish Öders, and who supported Anima and Christelle. Thank you for your support. Let's do that again. And yeah, here we are.
Thank you. But just before we exit, just answer me this one quick one. Why don't we have a lot of men in that space? It's always the women. Christelle, there's this other young girl, what's her name? Hannah, and then you. We don't see men in that space. And
well, I thought maybe you could answer that question. Why don't the Ghanaian men come up?
I'm here right now, so probably maybe you will let me know. But probably I'm sure there are other guys.
Well, let me give you the answer. I believe that women are the power cell of every society.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's put it this way: politics, as it is, was like a man's world, and it was automatically that men were placed in parliaments. But to be honest, where would men be without a woman?
So it's a woman's world. All right, guys. I'm not going to say much. Once again, I want to say thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
All right,